Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us in the fourth webinar of the series, RMI Compass Rural Transportation Post this lockdown. Sorry, we are late by 5 minutes. For today, we have two eminent speakers from State Road Transport Authorities, Karnataka State Road Transport Corporation and Kadamba Transport Corporation Limited, a government of Goa undertaking. And to moderate the session, we have with us Mr. Virendra Jamdede. He treasurer of RMAI and founder and CEO of Vritti Solutions. Mr. Jamdede is one of the thought leaders with the deep understanding of SME business in both urban and rural India. He is an entrepreneur in field of digital technology and media solution and has 23 strong years of doing business with SMEs, government and corporates. Even though being an IT, he focused on enabling rural and agriculture related businesses to make use of technology. Over the last 2 decades, his company has helped these businesses to leverage technology from desktop computing to today's mobile computing. Starting in Maharashtra a few years back from Audiowala bus station, has spread his wing in Karnataka, Goa, Punjab, Rajasthan, Himachal and Haryana, which reaches 35 crore people per month. From here, I'll hand over the discussion to Virendra sir. Virendra sir, over to you.
Thank you, Adar. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah, okay. Right. Good morning, all. Okay. Thanks for attending this on the Saturday morning. Even in the lockdown, still it's a weekend. Okay. So today we have this webinar, this series of RMA, where we'll be discussing how the passenger transportation, the mass transportation will look like post-pandemic. And as the other side, we have two eminent speakers from the field of state road transports. As our speakers, we have the privilege to have them. State road transport plays a major role in rural commuting. Almost 80–90% of the population uses state road transport to commute on daily basis. Okay, so we have Mr. Vishwanathji and Mr. Ghateji with us. Both of them have 30+ years of experience working with Road Transport Corporation in Karnataka and Goa respectively. I will briefly introduce both of them. I'll start with Mr. Vishwanath. Presently is retired, but has worked with KSRTC for 36 years. And his last, he was working as a general manager traffic with KSRTC. He started his career as a depot manager in 1982, and then through his, he has moved to the general manager traffic position when he retired. He had won several awards as depot manager and has contributed in many ways in the state road transport. He has, to his credit, many innovative projects like designing, fabricating, construction of automatic bus washing machine for the first time in India in year 1996. As Chief Traffic Manager BMTC, that is Bangalore Municipal Transport Corporation, managed operations of 600 buses on PPP model, thereby reaping benefits to BMTC. He implemented Big 10 service, where specially branded trunk services were introduced with the high frequency route on the Big 10 radial routes of Bangalore city. He had been member of EmbarQ consultant of World Bank on the study tour to Bogota, Colombia. He has implemented the very known, I think most of us might have used, is Vayu Vajra bus service, which connects Bangalore to Kempegowda airport with the various part of the city. Also, he has implemented computerized information announcement system in all important bus stations on PPP model, where we are Vritti is partnering with state transports. And also he implemented many IT projects like duty rota system, leave management system. This is something, these systems have helped state transport to take care of a lot of labor issues and the industrial relationship issues. So we have him to share his experience. And talking about Mr. Ghate, he is working in the capacity of General Manager with Kadamba Transport Corporation Limited. Kadamba is established by Goa state government and provides passenger transport service within Goa and interstate. Mr. Ghate is automobile engineer from VGTI Mumbai of 1982 batch. He had worked with BEST, Sanjeev Mumbai, the Mumbai Municipal Transport Corporation, Sanjeevani Sugar Factory Goa, and Premium Automobile Kurla before joining Kadamba. He has working experience for 38 years with Kadamba. He is responsible for any new initiatives taken in Kadamba for starting new long routes services and providing better passenger services. Welcome once again to both of you. Okay, we like to listen to their on-ground experiences of passenger behavior post-pandemic. KSRTC is India's largest fleet, passenger fleet of 18,000 buses, and Kadamba is already in the future phase of pandemic. Most of us still are thinking how will be looking like post-lockdown. Goa is one of the fortunate states which has been remained in almost green zone throughout, and they have already resumed the services. So it will be very interesting for us to know how the future post-pandemic is going to look like, because they are already started living the post-pandemic phase. Okay, so to begin with, both of them will like to share few videos and photographs of their preparation for resuming their services after pandemic. So I will request Mr. Ghate to start with the presentation from his side, and then from Mr. Vishwanath, and then we'll take the discussion forward. Over to you, Mr. Ghate. You can.
Yeah. So actually, this COVID-19 work started from 29th January. Displaying the boards, take precautions by the public as well as the passenger on the bus stands. And then we started giving training to our drivers in the mid-February through the doctors from health centers and some expertise from Kadamba as well as from the other communities. And myself also giving some lectures on the bus stand during the send-off functions regarding the COVID precautionary measures to be taken. And from 14th March, we started the practical work of sanitizing the bus stands and buses. And then we stopped the operation from 19th on long-distance interstate routes. And from 22nd, total operation of Kadamba was stopped. And then 15th of March, we started the essential services for doctors and nurses to bring them from their residence to hospital and dropping them back. And afterwards, from 4th of April, I think, we started government offices. 50% of the government offices with 33% staff was declared by government. So we provided around we started some 150 buses for just carrying these passengers from all the major towns to their workplace and then dropping them back in the evening. There was no curfew that time after 7. But from 3rd of May, the curfew started, and then our operation from 7 to 7 for public was open. And now we operate around 225 buses for public as well as for the 225 buses for public as well as the government servants. Now these essential services are stopped, and the doctors and nurses also, they travel by our normal public transport buses, and we bring them on ticketing. It is actually 1 passenger per seat we bring, and therefore the occupancy is, you know, that it will be just 30-35%. And we are getting now APKM of around 50% of what we are getting earlier. Earlier the APKM was around 33. Now we just get 14 to 19 rupees per kilometer. That is because of the social distancing. We have done sodium bichloride bleaching of buses and bus stands, and that we do every day when we start from the depot. And I will share the total some videos and pictures of that. Also, in the meantime, the government on 3rd May, they started transporting migrants through the permission of collector. And we operated from Goa to Udaipur, then Ratlam in Madhya Pradesh, then Ahmedabad in Gujarat. Then we dropped some students from Goa to Kochi and some passengers also. And in return, we brought our Goan people from those areas. And recently, around 5-6 days back, government of started railway services to take the migrants from major chunk of migrants from the Goa to other places like Jammu Kashmir. We sent 2 trains because Jammu Kashmir major business peoples were there on the seashore like sheikhs, and they sell those they're all leather and other goods on the seashores. So around 3,000 Kashmiris were sent just 2 days back. So we gave buses for them. Then from MP Gwalior, the government of Madhya Pradesh is sent one train to take the migrants of MP. So we gave around 50 buses to transport them from the shelter homes and their some residents to the railway station. Again, last night we operated one train to Madhya Pradesh and transporting around 1,400.
Okay. I think I lost him. Yeah, he's reconnecting.
So there is also demand from Bihar, Orissa, and other this. Actually, the public transport like bus transport from here to Bihar one way is very difficult to operate. It is actually a costlier affair. Train service on long distance will help the migrants to travel from Goa to other places. That is what I want to say because there are demands from UP, and as per the registration what we have received, government has received UP total migrants are around working in Goa are around 14,000. So again in Jharkhand we have labor migrants that is also a very good figure like 7,500. So this transportation will not be possible by bus service. So government is in connection. Government is in other this in our co-states CMs. They are in touch with them, and they are also planning to start some trains. Means require this demand some trains from other places. So I don't know what will be the COVID fourth lockdown guidelines of Ministry of this Home Affairs, but we are prepared on that, and I will. This I will show you some of the. Can you see the screen? Hello.
Able to see it, sir. You can continue.
You can see, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, these are some of the pictures how we started this thing. And Directorate of Fire and Emergency Services, they help us to give the pressurized pumps for this, the portable pressure, which was very easy to sanitize the bus stands. I will show you some of the this in picture. This is done manually by our staff. This is all manual. We started our canteen service also on the in the depots. So the staff, because now 100% Kadamba operation is started. We have around 2,000 and plus employees in Kadamba, and day to day everybody working. This I will show you the fire director of fire service helping us to sanitize the bus stands and our workshops, and they come every day and they do this sanitization work. So we use sodium bichloride for the sanitization externally, which is 50 added to 100 liters of water, and by pressure pumps we sanitize them. Yeah, this is the picture of where we have provided buses to Director of Civil Service for supplying of food grains for the sale in the village areas where these migrants were staying. So this is one job we have done. All workshop stands. I'll go ahead. Yeah, this is the buses we provided for migrants. After removing seats, we put all these grains, food grains, and from the tempo we load it in the bus, and then the buses are taken in the village area for the migrants. Then here is also we provided buses for supply of food grains, this cooked food to the migrants who were staying in the shelter homes, especially. Yeah, see, this is one of the picture where the bus and migrant in the food. So, we also distributed masks to the people free of cost to all some of the public in this lockdown period, which was actually prepared by our staff, the family members of our staff at home, and that was distributed to the public. Then from this operation from 20th April, from the this we started around 200 seats of bus operation. Around these medical infrared thermometers, thermal guns were given to the conductors for checking the passenger as well as before boarding. Also, our officer is checking the staff while reporting on duty. See, this is the office staff while reporting to duty. They are checked by our security as well as some staff. And these are the passengers we check every day. And now we have provided 400 such type of thermal guns on each buses which are operating to the conductor. So every yeah. Hello.
Sir, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to ask you, like, whatever efforts you are doing, and the passengers also started moving with you. Do you see that the passenger level going back to the pre-pandemic situation, and how quickly will it happen?
Actually,
pre-pandemic load factor, I say.
The post-pandemic situation is very challenging for us. It is actually now the behavior of every passenger is changed psychologically or physically, you can say. That they don't want to, maximum staff don't want to travel by our this public transport buses, except for the daily, what we can say, the government C or D workers and other laborers who are going to private companies or industrial estates. The one thing is they have psychological fear that this social distancing will not be maintained in the buses. Again, wearing of masks, and that all issues are there, like sanitizing of persons. That fear also may be there in the public receipt, because we can't every day show them how we are sanitizing the buses and all. But that fear psychologies are there in the public, that Kadamba may not be doing the sanitization work. So this fear and all, this is actually a challenge for us. And secondly, the social distancing is a major challenge. Like we can't take standees now. That is main issue. And every seat you can take only one passenger.
Okay.
So now we have to see how much spread this social distancing issues will go on, because COVID is not an ending issue. It will go like other pneumonia or fever and all these things that this COVID will go. It will remain forever. So every person should be ready to what I want to say to fight this COVID issue. And we have to be disciplined by keeping social distancing, wearing masks, then while attending the duty, like contactless operation, like movement of files, that we have to reduce. Paperwork we will have to reduce in the future course of time, and everything should be on computerized. Communication will be through computer or through mobiles, WhatsApps or emails, like that. All this the future what I want to say is future some actions we have to take regarding our administrative work also.
Yeah. Are you planning to increase the fleet size?
Pardon?
Are you looking to increase the fleet size to carry the same amount of passengers? Because you will be carrying around 50-60%.
That is also a major challenge for us, like a small this institute, because we have to depend on the government, like other KSRTC or MSRTC. The passenger flow and the kilometer utilization is very high, whereas we have limitations in Goa due to our the total local area is very small. We cannot take the maximum utilization from our crew. And in that, again, this social distancing has reduced our fleet utilization, or you can say our passenger load factor. Ridership is not as that of Karnataka or Maharashtra. That was from the beginning itself, but it will reduce now to 50% by this. By this pandemic, COVID pandemic. So that is also a challenge. And now you know that BS6 vehicles are coming, and in that cost of bodybuilding and chassis cost is also increased by around 30 to 40%. And in that, purchasing a new vehicle will be a challenge for small institutes. But we will try to go for higher purchase schemes. So we can have private partnership with them, and we are also doing work on that. We were actually having in some cases the private partnership on long distance route. Now we have to again see for this small distance. Our daily operation is maximum 200 to 250 kilometers, which is very less, and as compared to other bigger STUs like Gujarat, Karnataka, or Maharashtra, that what we say, the kilometers per passenger, per driver, or per conductor per day is very less. Very less means it comes to around 49 kilometers per day. So that is actually a very less recovery from any crew. And that
but it can give an opportunity for the businesses to partner with state transport. It can be an opportunity for many to partner with state transport.
This will help the private partnership management with some private organizations, and we are also studying that how best and this thing, because the main hurdle in public transport is you can't increase the fare here, like a taxi fare or any other fare. If you increase the fare, then personalized transport will increase. People will not come to our public transport. So that is the main hurdle for us, and we have to see now how government help us in this matter.
Government will have to step in to support this. Government will have to step in to support this.
Yeah, last 6 months back, I had been to this Belgium for Bus World exhibition, and that time I visited Luxembourg and Amsterdam. And there I was saying from 1st of March, they made all the public transport free.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so public transport like metros, buses, everything is free with this thing. So when I just inquired with one of the officer, and I asked him that what was the load factor before this, means pre this free travel. He said now it is around load factor is around 55%. Because morning and evening only, just like India, morning and evening they get the passenger. In between, there are no passengers to travel in the bus. So buses are running with 20% load factor, he said. So I asked him, if you make it free, what will be the increase? What is your expectation? He said it may increase to 10 to 15%. So this was his calculation. It is in the developed country. And now these developed countries are giving free public transport.
Right.
Now, our government or this government of India also should think about public transport, because if it is free, then some passengers can, this service people or employees can travel.
Right. I would like to bring the same question to Mr. Vishwanath. We like to hear from the KSRTC perspective, because as you are mentioning, it's a large state and a very large fleet. Can you share your viewpoints on this, Mr. Vishwanath? You'll have to unmute yourself. Yeah.
This coronavirus pandemic definitely has a bearing on the way people travel all along. Travel, by public transport, maybe for daily necessities, daily essentials. Some people travel to go for pilgrimages or social visits. So, because of the onset of this pandemic, there will be a large-scale reduction of people, traveling to make social visits or even going on pilgrimage. At least in the first couple of months, we expect, people may shift towards personalized transport to a large extent because of the fear factor. But once things start settling down and we cross this peaking phase of the pandemic, and once it reaches a plateau and starts declining, then, things may return to normal. So till such time, we do not have any hopes of returning back to our normal operations, mainly because of the fear factor. People are not ready to travel a lot. And the other factor is you will have to maintain the social distancing. So a bus which has a capacity to cater to around 50 people will be catering to only about 20 people. So that makes our operations unviable. So these are various reasons, but in spite of all this, the public sector state transport undertakings are in a better position to cater to the needs, because they have got the wherewithal to absorb those shocks or absorb those shortfalls in revenue. In fact, when the state government asked the private operators to start operating buses sometime back, not many were really willing to start operating the buses, fearing, load factor was not sufficient enough. Recently, for the last 3-4 days, when KSRTC started operating about 6 buses in Udupi district, the private sector then chipped in, and so we had to take the initiative. They didn't so much to start operating those services. And majority of the present day operations as of now is we are catering to the transportation of migrant labor. We transport the migrant laborers from the city center to some outskirts places. From there, they're shifted by train or some long distance buses to other areas. So that is another issue. And first of all, we say that we'll have to maintain social distancing. The other day, when on the 4th of May, when this curfew was relaxed and people were allowed to, the standard public were allowed to go back to their places, there's a huge crowd of 20,000 people, who had congregated at Keppegowda bus station. So all our preaching and advice of maintaining personal distance or social segregation went for a toss. When you have 20,000 people, if you ask them to maintain a distance of 6 feet or 3 feet between them, that queue itself will go run into several kilometers. So, and we were in fact making frequent announcements, for them to not crowd, and to maintain social distance and other things. But this happens when you cater to the unreserved passengers. The migrants were held up here, they were actually unreserved passengers. If you have reserved passengers, then we can bring in some amount of frequency of discipline. So this operating reserved services for passengers, is a much more organized way of handling these people. But when you talk of the rural transportation, this just is not possible. Nobody traveling from a village to a taluka or a taluka to a district title will reserve a ticket and travel. So he'll just
in rural, that's not possible. Yeah.
In rural areas, it's really not possible. Maybe for long distance services and the premium services, we do it on there is almost 100% of the seats are booked in advance. So there, all this discipline can be enforced. So these are the challenges which the bus operators will face, added to the demand.
Right. My question to Mr. Ghatia again, definitely the situation is really difficult for everybody, but everyone wants to come out of it. So do you foresee any opportunity for brands to engage with passengers? How can the brands contribute in providing hygiene services or any other requirement where we can partner? Because we are all rural marketeers. So do you see any opportunity for us to collaborate with you, partner with you?
Brand means, what do you mean to say?
The companies, basically the various corporate companies can come forward and maybe they can collaborate with you whereby they get they can connect with the passengers, with their consumers in providing the hygiene services or anything in which they can get the brand mileage out of it.
Hygiene is now it is a personal this thing. What I mean to say, now in hygiene we can only provide services of sanitizing the buses or our workplaces. But every passenger and every human being now, he is traveling by bus or he is at home, he should be more hygienic and he should more what I want to say, alert about this hygiene this thing. The brands are there, but today I don't think we have been so much, because it was not any in past also. For public transport, the branding is only the bus supply and other incorporated this thing. So it is difficult. If Mr. Vishwanath can put some light on these brands, I think, because their services are very.
And likewise, in the past, we had done the mobile kiosk and the buses, which was sponsored by a few of the companies. So something of that sort. Pedestal.
Practically, it may not help after post-pandemic also.
Okay.
And the real challenge is now we should bring out the fear of this COVID-19 and we should start operation with by taking maximum what I mean to say the precautions for public to give them means what we can say is confidence in them that you use public transport and it is safe for you. Then only the public will come. But invariably now I want to say the load factor will come down to 50%.
Okay.
We have to increase number of buses, and increasing number of buses, the main hurdle in STUs is the salary of any crew, because we have to go with all these Motor Vehicle Act, Workers Act, and then other statutory provisions to be made to the workers. So the employment will be. And in other way, if private come, then they will exploit the labor. So now government has to give call on that.
Right. Government participation,
exploiting the labor also will affect the economy of the country.
Right.
So
a government intervention in public transport will be very vital, I think.
Secondly, now it is very difficult in so that is also main major. Increasing vehicle may not suffice, and we bring driver and conductor from the neighboring states for this job. So that's again issue of we also see. Yeah. So, Vishwanath, can you help me on this branding of?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to add some points. One thing, we welcome contributions from the corporate sector, using their CSR funds, on various parameters. One is, you can train our staff and crew, and also educate the commuters by way of distributing leaflets or making announcements from the bus stations to the commuters. What are the do's and don'ts, in the time of this pandemic? That is very much doable. And you can also contribute to us, because we are spread all over the state, and we are manning hundreds of bus stations from remote small towns to metropolitan cities. We would welcome, if the corporate sector can contribute, in disinfecting and sanitizing the bus stations, and having a sanitizer kiosks, at bus stations and even buses also, if need be. That is one this thing we are looking at. And one request is, I request the corporate sector not to try to subsidize travel as a CSR, because, it encourages unnecessary, unwanted traveling. That we'd really appreciate if not taken up. And, you can also provide masks and personal disinfectants to the commuters, as well as our operating group. So these are the ways, where the corporate sector can contribute, towards safety and encouraging public transportation from rural areas to the cities also. And I had a couple of photographs and small presentation. Can I share them?
Yeah, please, sir. We can have 5 minutes for that.
Yeah, sure. This is a presentation about the preparations made by KSRTC during this coronavirus pandemic. KSRTC has converted some of its buses, because most of the buses are lying idle in the depots. we have converted some buses, as a mobile fever clinic. So these buses, go to different places and act as a mobile fever clinic. And the top management, including the MD, visit the bus stations, and interact with the crew as well as passengers to get their feedback. And all the buses are disinfected every day, as soon as the bus comes back from the event, before it goes back to the route, they're disinfected. And the same thing is followed in BMTC also. All the buses are disinfected before deploying. So these are various photographs, wherein, you can see pictorial evidence of how the buses are cleaned and maintained. KSRTC runs a full-fledged hospital on its own, to cater to the needs of our employees. So MD recently made a special visit, to see how things are going on, functioning at the general hospital, which is run by KSRTC. And there have been health checkup clinics, to check the health of all the employees in all the depots and workplaces, and ensure that the infected ones or people who are not feeling well, are not taken on to work. And during summers, when the heat is extreme, we have had a couple of fire accidents, though it's not directly related to the COVID issue. So we have started ensuring that buses are parked, with a safe distance, so that the entire lot of buses do not catch fire. At least the fire incident will be isolated to a particular bus. And we have also installed this hands-free sanitizer dispensing unit at bus stations and depots, just to avoid an infected person contaminating the sanitizer mechanism itself. We have also see, these are the buses, which have been completely stripped of the seats and, slowly converted, in stages, to have a mobile checkup camps. And we have many staff, the mechanical staff, who are right in the depots and workshops because of the non-operation of buses. We are using those employees and preparing masks and distributing it free of cost to many deserving passengers and also our employees. And we have also allowed opening of our bus stations as markets, because of this pandemic, because of problems of transportation of vegetables and fruits, the perishable items. We have allowed, you can see in a particular photo on the top right, farmers coming and selling, their produce in our bus stations. And there was an incident, of violence in an area called Padrayanpura in Bangalore city, wherein some people who had visited Nizamuddin, went in, created a ruckus, and we had to deploy our crew. Our crew have been deployed there with full PPE kits, on their wearing their full PPE kits. And similar mobile fever clinics have been started at Mysore, Bangalore, Bagalkot, and other places. The MD is regularly on video conference calls, with the unit heads, to monitor the situation. You can see this is a photograph of our Bangalore bus station, which is in the heart of the city, which on a normal days caters to about 10 to 12 lakh passengers every day. You have the city bus station here, and on the background, you have the intercity bus station, and on the right side, you have the railway station also. So close to 10 to 12 lakh passengers utilize this bus station, which is now totally devoid of any movement of people or buses. And these are the press coverage, about various aspects of KSRTC's intervention in during this COVID period. And I want to share one more photo, a couple of photos. These are actual photos, where you can see segregation of passengers. Those seats which are marked, with the cross, are not supposed to be occupied. See, all the buses are sanitized before departure. The conductors and drivers, are mandated to wear masks and gloves.
I'm not able to see your screen. Are you sharing the screen, sir? We are not able to see your screen.
Okay. 1 second. Share screen. Yeah. Oh. I think now you're able to see.
Yeah.
So all the buses are, disinfected before being sent online. And all the employees, are provided with gloves, hand gloves and masks, before they proceed for duty. And this is the temperature sensor, this thing, used on passengers who come to the bus station to board the buses. These are hands-free sanitizer units. And passengers are, boxes are marked on the floor, and the physical segregation is ensured because of that. And all the buses which have two doors, one door is earmarked for entry and another door is earmarked for exit, so that unnecessary intermingling or crowding is passengers using this sanitizers kept inside the bus. Even buses are fitted with sanitizers. You can see the conductors using masks and gloves and social segregation. There was one question about the introduction of contactless this thing. Yes, we are moving, so that to avoid handling of cash, we are planning to introduce contactless smart cards, so that handling of cash, which is a likely source of infection, is avoided. The buses are again sanitized after they come back from this thing.
Okay, right. So there is a question from our attendee. They're saying that will there be a ticket hike? Okay. And my sub question to it, that whether the STU will like to increase parcel services to compensate the loss of the empty seats. There are two questions: whether there will be increase in the fare, and another question is whether the parcel service which can cater to the last mile delivery to the rural, whether you like to increase parcel services to compensate the revenue loss. Any one of you can take the question.
Well, there's no chance of increase in fare in KSRTC right now, because fare revision was done some months back. So in such a short period of time, there won't be a second hike. Regarding parcels, yes, definitely. We already have parcel facilities, and we would welcome KSRTC is active, proactive in that aspect. If there's any opportunity wherein you can generate more revenue, it will definitely do.
Yeah, because the vehicle moves to every town, every village, and that can carry the parcels, small parcels as well, which is one of the challenge for the delivery system as well, the last mile delivery. So I think STU should actually leverage more on this, which is not done to that extent today with your parcel contractor, to make the delivery like a courier. Okay, it should operate like a courier service, so which can solve problem for many companies to handle the delivery to their retail shops in the villages as well, or even direct to the direct consumer as well.
That requires a lot of logistics to reach the consumer directly.
Yeah.
And that's not a core business as of now. But in fact, we can examine tying up with a private on a PPP basis, so that he can look after those logistics. In any case, we have the capacity to move these parcels.
Yeah.
And I think the matter will be considered.
Right, sir. Yeah. So what do you see, by when do you anticipate, or as per you, the passengers level would be to normal? When do you see is there any estimate from your side that when will we go back to the normalcy?
Because, Gate, you wanted to say something?
No, now at this stage it is very difficult, because now lockdowns, now this fourth lockdown is coming in on 18th.
Yep.
Then there will be 5th lockdown, 6th lockdown in August 15th. So we should see what are the guidelines and what central government, union government think about, and their perspective about the public transport. And then we will be able to comment on this. It's difficult, like increasing fare, doing fare hike, or going for parcel system. This parcel system also, what happened now, big states can go for parcel system because their intercity distance is more than this thing. In Goa, our border to border length is just 100 kilometers. And from other side, east to west, it is just 67 kilometers.
Yeah.
There we cannot say that the parcel system will be so economic.
Yeah.
Secondly, Director of Horticulture, they are bringing these farm products from the villages to the towns and cities. So that business will also be not so feasible, because they collect this vegetable and agriculture goods from the villages and they bring it to the city. Director of Horticulture in Goa. So, yeah.
Yeah, dynamics for Goa always remain different than other states. It's a very small state, so the dynamics is very different there. Yeah.
Very different.
Little different question from our context is the Goa has been fortunate that it has remained in green zone right from the beginning.
Yeah.
So you are connected with the administration there. So would you like to tell us something? How did you achieve that? How did you go up with being so many foreigners coming as a tourist, going back?
Yeah.
How did you really manage Goa remaining safe?
No, this government and our police department as well as administrative department, like all the IAS officers, and these guidelines were, these MHA guidelines were strictly followed. And being a very small state, it was better to control, and maximum the literacy is around 95 to 98%. So everybody was cautious about this, whatever the guidelines given by MHA. Everybody download. If you go to the student also, they used to download this MHA guidelines, and they used to apprise their parents and all that we should do like this, we should go with that. And I think that was that awareness and this thing created more this thing, the lockdown period and this early green zone.
Yeah. But I recently read that post migrants were allowed, Goa is getting few cases.
Yeah, it is actually for the people who the Goans who came from outside to Goa, and we have our own checking, different checking this thing. Like other states, they check only with the thermal gun, but we have our COVID kit, and government does this checking free of cost for the Goan people who come from outside, and in that we trace this thing. Secondly, the borders are totally sealed by the police personnel. So whenever somebody enters this without check and quarantine, you cannot enter Goa.
Okay.
Like if this everybody's now swab test is taken, and if it is negative, then also is home quarantine for 14 days. And if it is found positive, we send him to COVID hospital for treatment. So
Right.
yeah, now this railways will also start, and but we have, our government had decided that we should not take any outside person in Goa till this situation is streamlined and yeah, stable.
Okay. There is a question, either of you can take it, that how do you compare road transport with railways? How do you compare road transport with railways?
In railways, it will be much more organized because they mainly cater to long distance travel. So for a long distance travel, it is on par with railways. It will be with reservation. They having the contact details of all the commuters who plan to travel by buses. So it is on par with railways. Whereas if you take the rural services and intra-district services, it is just, many times we don't visualize what the demand will be. Suddenly there will be an influx of people and, we'll be running helter-skelter, to cater to the needs of those people. So that is really very challenging. And like I told you, what happened, on the 4th of May when the migrants were, when we opened up, for standard passengers to move out, a big crowd gathered in the bus, about 20,000 passengers, waiting for the bus.
Yeah, I want to share some this thing. Actually, the railway passengers, they are the scheduled passenger. Their trips and their tours are scheduled 2 months, 3 months before, 80 to 90%. So 10% are just this thing. But in our public transport, bus transport, that is the incidental this thing and daily operational. There is you will not find any schedule plan for this. The passenger go to the counter, they book ticket and they travel, because this travel is maximum the short distance travel. So this is major two different. You cannot compare train with bus transport. Secondly, operational cost and administrative admin cost overheads are more in bus transport and rail transport. So there it is difficult.
There is another question is, what are the plans from the STU side to improve infrastructure? Maybe along with the buses, the other infrastructure, what are the plans those are being undertaken?
Well, we had also been wondering, why can't the roads be, repaired, because when during normal times when they take up repairs of roads, it will create a huge traffic jam, but the problem is because of the lockdown, even the workers were not allowed to come and work. Those who actually wanted to work on those civil works which has been suggested, so even they were unable to reach the and you see the servants and maids, have not been able to come to your house for work also. So as the lockdown is relaxed, yes, definitely.
And secondly, the infrastructure, like shops on the bus stands and all, this for some time, you can say, I think it is for a year to go. Next 1 year, this total establishment and rented shops business will be on the negative this thing, because people will avoid purchasing, People will avoid going to the restaurants. Then people will avoid touring from one state to other state. If it is relaxed also, they will, because you don't know this sanitization of hotel beds are made or not. So this all the security is a major issue in all this, and to get rid with the commercial this in shops and other infrastructure, I think it is not possible at this stage to comment like.
There's a question in continuation. It says that at a short distance, do you see a swing away from bus to train travel? For the short distance, whether people will prefer railway or bus?
Well, the capacity of the railways, to become flexible to cater to sudden increase in the level of operation is very limited. To start a new train, they plan for months together. Whereas a bus, there's a demand for tomorrow, within 24 hours notice, the bus operators can deploy. And the railways also generally do not entertain short distance passengers. They mainly concentrate on long distance travel. And they've, in fact, washed up their hands, so that it's taken care of by the bus transport companies.
It is in Maharashtra and all now Mumbai. It is difficult to have social distancing in because they were carrying passengers in the train more in locals more than the specified standees were double. Actually, in railway standees should be 33%. It was coming to 100% with the sitting capacity and standing. It is overcrowded. So it is very difficult for them to control also. If they start, it is difficult to control in the peak time. So I don't think people may, at the short distance, people may go for railways. Because again, there is a fear of this pandemic.
Yeah. It will be very interesting to see, like, particularly the metros, how Mumbai kind of local trains are going to really run post-pandemic.
Yeah.
Because already they are so overcrowded in the peak time. So it will be what the alternate.
Their only solution is long distance. They should bring in the train, and short distance should use their personal or public transport like BST.
Yeah, city transport, corporation transport.
Would like to add here. Say, for example, between Bangalore and Mysore, there are more than a dozen trains every day. And the railway fare is very, very cheap compared to bus fares. But in spite of it, we have a bus from Bangalore to Mysore running every 5 minutes.
You're right, I do, yeah. Very popular service.
So the flexibility of the system, you can alight the bus, at a place near your home before it reaches the main bus station. And you don't require any reservation. You can just walk in and board a bus. Buses will be lined up, to cater to the demand. That is the problem.
Right. Right, guys. Both of you, thanks for such a interesting discussion. Adar, have you missed any question?
No, sir, we don't received any such questions.
Okay. So I think we are also 10 minutes over the time as well. We started a bit late, but it was really nice interaction. I would like to thank you, both of you, for being present and sharing your views. Okay, I will hand it over to you, Adar, for the conclusion.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you, Virendra sir, for that excellent moderation. Thank you, eminent speaker, for your valuable time, insights from knowledge-rich experience.
Thank you.
Thank you for all who participated today and sent us your queries. If you have any more queries, you can send us on secretariat@rmi.in, and we'll send it to the speakers and send you the reward. Okay. And this was the 4th webinar of the series. We will shortly be coming with more. they are in the planning process. So till then, stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.